Okay, welcome to the show. This is TED Talks Too Much. And we've got another great one for you today. I am Ted Moss, brother to three, father to four, stand-up comedian, and your host. We are located in the OK Boomer Studios, just outside of Flint, Michigan. That's right, I said Flint. Michigan's water wonderland, where they are still wondering when they'll get some clean water. But while we all wait for that, let's talk. And on today's show, we've got Coraci, a beautiful young comedian. We're going to talk about college running, working on the Jerry Springer show, improv, and a little bit about drag queen bingo. She's one funny lady, so stay tuned. We'll be back with that right after this.
I'm at this high school function for my stepdaughters, and this lady comes up to me and she goes, "Oh, are those your daughters?" I said, "Well, they're my stepdaughters." She said, "Oh, they're not your real daughters?" I said, "Well, those aren't your real tits, but you'd be sad if you lost one." Detroit in the house, bitches. Detroit in the house.
Okay, here we go. Today we have one of my favorite new people on the Detroit comedy scene. She has a great sense of humor, the drive of a business executive, and a very tolerant husband. The perfect combination to be a successful stand-up. So let's give an OK Boomer Studio welcome to my good friend, Coraci.
Same idea where it's like, we're interesting people as comedians.
Yeah.
We don't have to make a joke about it.
Right. Welcome to the show, Kara. And I'm not going to, how do you say your last name, Kara?
How do I say it, or how is it supposed to be said?
Okay. Either, both.
It's really Coraci.
Coraci. I like Coraci.
Well, thank you. But from, when you see a C and I together, it looks like chi. So people have always, growing up, it's always been Coraci. And then my nickname has evolved into Crotch and Coraci. I'm sure this is supposed to be clean. I'm not trying to.
No, you can fucking say anything you want in this. Just you can honestly. This is. I checked the box that says kids don't listen. Okay. So yeah, no.
So, anyways, that's it. So my nickname is always. Like I tell a bit about how my sisters are big crotch, little crotch, and I'm baby crotch.
Well, that's kind of funny.
Yeah. And
the premise is funny.
Yeah. Well, then I do. Yeah. And then I say, I learned the hard way not to hashtag baby crotch.
Yeah. How does your sister, who has the big crotch, feel about the joke? By the way, I'm calling you out. I talked to your husband.
Yeah.
You know what? I really should apologize because we have talked about you on our show a number of times. Do you know that? I don't know if you've listened enough, but we've talked about you 2 or 3 times, and I have a tendency to call you Kara. Oh. The reason being is I had a foreign exchange student, and her name was Kara. It was spelled C-A-R-A.
Is this a girlfriend?
Foreign exchange student? No, that's not a girlfriend. It was both. I mean,
never mind. I misunderstood.
No, but I think you've been watching too much porn.
Was this a mail order exchange student?
This is a girl from Germany that came and lived with me and my wife and my 2 daughters.
I never know what these are.
No. And her name was Kara, C-A-R-A.
Oh, yeah.
And I got used to Kara. And your name is Kara, but I think of care as C-A-R-E. Care, the word care.
Yeah.
And so every time I go to say your name, I'm stuck because I know it starts with a K, but it's not what my foreign exchange student was. So I've called you Kara and Kara many, many times on the show.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the show, you'd know that. And you'd be upset.
I, of course, know that. That's why I'm here today.
Exactly.
I wanted to talk about that.
Yes. And I also have a hard time saying crotch when I'm I'm talking to a female, especially attractive female. You know, the people don't know this, but you may be the most attractive woman doing stand-up comedy in the state of Michigan.
That is so kind.
Yes, that is kind of me, isn't it?
So
Good
weird.
thing you're sitting here.
I'm like, I'm going to leave now.
There aren't a lot of beautiful women. There are some, but there aren't a lot of beautiful women that take up stand-up comedy.
Why? If I can be honest, this is the most awkward conversation to be had.
Oh.
Like, no. But I mean it nicely.
We're
but
alone in my house. This is the conversation I always have.
No, but I think so. How do I say this? One, I've worked really hard to become who I am today. I mean, I grew up as a person who didn't have things, right? My parents, like, I always had hand-me-downs. We didn't grow up with a lot of money and what have you.
I'm poor folks.
I wouldn't call us poor,
We
but
were poor too. I mean, I was poor. Maybe you weren't, but I was poor.
yeah, I never felt like we were poor per se, but we were kind of, one income family for the most part. And just, parents didn't go to college. I think it was pretty normal for the time. My parents were born in the 40s. So,
but they made a beautiful daughter.
But I have never been into style, like clothes style. Like I always joke that, like, I like to walk into a store and whatever the mannequin's wearing, that's what I'm going to buy, because I don't want to.
I don't want to work at it.
No, because I'm like,
you thought it looked good together. I'm buying it.
I'm in, sure, because my mind doesn't necessarily work that way. I'm not into brands. So it's not.
Are you saying that you were not aware that you were attractive growing up?
I wasn't attractive.
Yeah.
No,
Really?
I'll show you photos. When I was 5 years old, I had a lazy eye. I had Coke bottle glasses with bifocals. Do you know what? Yes.
You were smoking.
Yeah, I was like a 74-year-old, man in a freaking. Do you need me to pull up photos?
No.
Okay, I'm
no.
like, yeah.
What I'm getting at is I have very attractive daughters.
Yes.
And I think it helps them. There's some benefits to being attractive. And obviously you have matured into an attractive female adult. And there's some advantages to that. You get some attention that somebody that was homely or unattractive might not get. But there's also some disadvantages to that.
100%.
Yeah, that there's some burdens, that you're going to get some attention when you don't want attention.
Yeah.
You're going to be picked out, and there are people going to say inappropriate things to you sometimes. And I've talked to my daughters about this. I said, don't feel bad if you have an edge because you walk in a room and you get some attention, because you're putting up with the burden, which is the flip side, every day. And I got to think that as you've matured, that you've probably run into the same thing.
So from the comedy perspective, I think the disadvantage is that people make assumptions then right off the bat. Oh gosh, you're not funny. You're just going to, you're just this pretty girl trying it out.
Yeah.
And like, okay, I'm going to try it, guys. Like, I'm just like coming to the microphone. This is my first time up here. Like, I look in the mirror like when I get my hair done. So I'm like, right? And that's frustrating.
I think there's a lot of that in LA. When we were out there, we saw a lot of actresses or wannabe actresses that were getting time because they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And really had no comedy skills.
Yep.
But that's not the case with you. And I think once you start talking, people are going to kind of get it.
Yeah.
And there are attractive female comedians, and quite a number of famous ones. In fact.
Yes. I'm thinking Nikki. I can't think of her last name.
Glazer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just Lisa. I want to call her Lisa, but it's not. It's Schlesinger is what I want to say.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's Eliza.
Yeah.
Whatever her name is. Yeah.
Yes.
And I can't say her name. See, I'm terrible with names.
Yeah.
Kara.
Whitney Cummings.
Yeah. So you can be attractive, but there are some assumptions. But there's assumptions about you anytime you walk in a room. And like me, old white man. when I walk out on stage, there are certain assumptions that are going to be made about me, I think.
Yep, absolutely. In fact, I went to an open mic a couple weeks ago, and I was grabbing a pop at the bar, and the guy goes,
"Hey, honey."
Well, he says, "Are you one of the comedian's wives?" And I was like, what? Like, number one, I just want to cringe because sometimes I feel like, why do guys need to talk to me? You know, like I have that happen at the gas station all the time where a guy will strike. I'm like, I got 3 minutes here of pumping gas.
You're
I certainly
you're
don't
making
need to
eye
talk
contact. You can't, honestly, you make eye contact with guys that go, well, that's a green light. That's all it takes.
No, I'm not. I am not. I'm like in sunglasses with a bonnet on and I'm
a face mask.
Yes. I'm not making any eye contact. I'm like, I'm not making eye contact. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I want girls to call in. Can I have some girls call in, please, who also have this
This is not
problem?
a call-in show. This is recorded. No one's listening to this. They might in a couple of weeks, but not now. Hey, I want to talk a little bit more about your background. Where did you grow up? What town did you grow up in?
Yeah. So I grew up in Sterling Heights. My folks are born and raised Detroiters.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know
they
that.
just kind of moved up Van Dyke. It's truly what they did.
Oh, okay.
Right? They grew up at 6 in Van Dyke, and then we moved up into Sterling Heights.
Yeah, these are all parts of Detroit for the people that aren't familiar with it. But so you were always in Detroit. Your family was southern Detroit, or kind of mid-northern Detroit to more northern Detroit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, so my mom's one of 11 kids.
Holy Catholic.
Yeah. Irish Catholic.
You know what? That's the same thing Bill Bouchard said. Just making babies. This is what we do.
It's true.
Yeah. My first wife was Irish Catholic, 9 kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dark
they had
hair,
a lot of fun.
Blue eyes and making babies.
Mm-hmm. And then, but my uncle at age 17, started his own business in the house in Detroit.
Yeah.
And that business still exists today.
What business?
It's a key shop.
Oh,
so
cool.
They make keys and whatnot, but it's one of the longest consistent running businesses in Detroit. All 11 kids work there at some point.
Wow.
Half of them still work there. So when people talk about Detroit, my husband and I actually moved to Detroit. We know.
Now, is he from Detroit also, or?
He's not. He's from Minnesota, but he went
Minnesota. I didn't know that. Your husband's very nice, by the way. He's always, honestly, super nice guy.
Yeah, thank you. He feels that way about himself, actually. And lets everyone know.
Well, when he's talking to me, he feels charitable. I'm being nice to the old guy. What the fuck?
Right.
How nice am I being nice to him?
Brought you some Metamucil, Ted.
Yeah, that's what I need.
Thank you. I get that a lot about my husband, Joel, and he is my biggest supporter. So
he's been to a lot of shows. I've seen him at a lot of shows, and always friendly, always smiling, always nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very tolerant of you. That says a lot for him.
Yeah.
It means he's either ignoring you or he doesn't care or he's like, whatever.
Well, that's a whole other discussion about how important it is, and male, female, whoever you have in this seat, doesn't matter. Having a supportive significant other in this community is huge.
Right.
Huge.
Right. Before we get into spouses too much, though, I want your timeline. So you actually grew up in Detroit, Sterling Heights, and then you moved up Van Dyke with your parents. Then you stayed in Detroit, went to college at Oakland. Is that right?
Yep. Oakland University.
And you were there on a scholarship for track?
Yeah. Track and field cross country.
Oh, really?
Cross country running. So
cross country, when I did that long ago, it was 2 miles.
Yeah.
And I think it became 3 miles in high school. What is it in college?
5K, 6K, or sometimes it went up to a 10K for guys.
10K is 6.2 miles. 5K would be 3.1 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not Canadian.
3.6.
I can do the math, though.
Yeah. Sorry.
Cool.
I should have spelled that out.
For you. No. What kind of times did you run? What was your? Do you remember mile times or quarter mile times?
I ran
10K times?
I honestly wasn't that. I was not as good as some people were, but I would run in the 20s. I broke 20 minutes for a 5K, and I ran I think 5:43 mile at, back in high school.
Oh, that's great.
But
now, did you ever run in the Bobby Crim?
I have ran the Crim. I've done the maybe I didn't do the Crim.
The Crim is a 10-mile race in Flint. That's we have international runners. They have the people from Ethiopia or wherever. I mean, they have top world runners in that. Yeah,
that's a big one. I've done 13 marathons, and including the Boston Marathon.
Wow. Well, hold on. Were you a qualified runner for the Boston?
Yeah, I was a qualified runner.
Well, what's the time you got to run to be a qualified runner for the Boston?
So it's changed a bit at the time, and because it's based on age and based on...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it'll get easier for you, not saying anything about but you might have a chance now, Ted.
Oh, thanks. But I used to run. I used to be a runner. I had some records and stuff.
I could see that.
Yeah, do you know who Joan Benoit is?
Name sounds familiar.
Joan Benoit is an American woman, and she was the first winner of the marathon in the Olympics, the first year they allowed women to run the marathon.
Yes. Okay.
So she has kind of a place in history.
Yeah.
And right before that happened, she came to Flint and ran the Bobby Crim.
Oh, wow.
And won the Bobby Crim. And my sister was 10th overall in that race when Joan Benoit won it. Joan won it, and my sister was 10th. So she was quite a runner.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah. I think she ran, it was 10 miles, and I think she ran 60 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So she was.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, well, she was 105 pounds, and she was 5'6" and really narrow hips. She had the perfect runner's body.
Yeah.
And, big chest cavity with big lungs, big heart. I mean, just genetically, our family is kind of predisposed to, be runners.
Yeah.
Skinny limbs and big lungs and big heart.
Yeah.
So.
My parents had me in a stroller until I was about 12 years old. So I always say, I think it was a control thing. But I legit was in a stroller for a very long time, just simply because I was a lazy kid. So I think I saved up. I think
Is this true? Okay. Or are you just making this shit up?
No, this is,
let's go get some ice cream. Put her in the stroller.
I kid you not. I was in a stroller way longer than kids were supposed to be in strollers. And so I do always joke that I think I saved up a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And that's why I became a runner.
Well, what did you think about running in college and having that obligation? I know my daughter golfed in college. It was a lot of time. It was very consuming of all her time.
Yeah, it is. You will have it's a different college experience. I didn't have the Michigan State experience my friends had where it was what party is there going to be tonight? What frat house are you going tonight? I mean, it was, you had a spaghetti dinner on every Friday, and then you went to bed at 8:30, and then you're up at, and
you're doing
4 a.m. to get to a bus.
Doing at least 20 hours with the coach every week, and then some time on your own. So you got 30 hours probably of practice
at least.
Plus your schooling.
Yes.
Actually, I think it was the Ohio State golf coach told us on a recruiting visit, if you weren't doing 40 hours a week, you were doing less than anybody else on the team.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job to be 100%. An athlete in college, regardless. It doesn't have to be the football team or the basketball team. All those people are competitive. Yeah. All those people want to win. All those athletes are working really hard at it.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, we would have double workout days, Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
You had your races Saturday. Your whole summer, by the way, is getting ready for season because season starts end of August. So it was absolutely a different lifestyle. We had our share of fun, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Well, the same with the golf team. The funny thing was in the wintertime, they used to get on the treadmills with their golf bags. because these girls sometimes had to golf 36 holes in one day and carry their bags.
Wow.
And that's 10 hours of walking with your bag
my
up downhill
gosh.
while competing. And it could be 90 degrees.
Yeah. I wouldn't
So you have to be in shape, be able to carry your bag. So they're doing treadmills with their bags on in January, getting ready for the season and stuff. And specific exercises for those muscles and stuff. I mean, they're serious about it.
Yeah.
They're there to win. So.
Yeah. I would have never thought of that.
Yeah, it's crazy. All those sports are crazy. Well, and you made it through college, and that was great. And you didn't get married while you're in college. You came out. You got a job doing something after college.
Yep. So I actually went to school. I have a communication degree, which is laughable. I don't know.
It depends. Not if you're in communications. It's not.
That's true. So I focused on TV production. We had a television station at the school, and that's where I quote unquote worked, and I got communicator. I got a communicator award and all this.
Oh, that's great
good stuff. So, but I share that with you because my first job out of college, I worked at the Jerry Springer Show. So
what?
How have you not heard this? I haven't told you this.
We've been friends for 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
This is Jerry Springer has never come up.
Like 2.5 years.
Has it been 2.5?
Well, I've only been doing comedy 2.5 years. So.
Oh, 2.5. Yeah. Just seems longer to me.
It does. It does. I think because you're aging quickly.
Yeah, and I have zero memory. So hold it. Where is Jerry Springer filmed at, and how did you get on that show?
Chicago.
And you happened to move to Chicago, and
so the quick summary story is that my good friend was living there, and I said, "Hey, can I use your address for applying to jobs?" Because I was happy to leave Michigan. I didn't have anything keeping me here.
Right.
And she said, "Absolutely." So I had sent an application to Jerry Springer. I got a call, and of course, they think I live 2 blocks away.
Right.
So they're like, "Can you come in tomorrow for an interview?" And I'm like, "Yes, I can."
And so you're driving 4 and 5 hours, whatever, to get to Chicago.
Exactly. I called up my friend. I said, "I'm coming down." He's
that's great.
Okay.
Well, that's how you got to do it.
And that's, I'm not telling people they should lie, but I do think that that is what is going to separate people who are willing to just, take the chance.
Yeah.
And then people
show up.
Yeah. And show up.
Say,
and
absolutely,
be on time.
That'll work. Yeah.
And that was my perspective, is like, I'll make it work. So anyways, got the job.
And so you hopped in the car early in the morning and drove for an interview.
Oh, I went that night. Oh, did you? I went minutes later. It was
cool.
Packed a bag and jumped in the car.
And you had to go in and you talked to some production assistant or something that gave you the initial interview, and they were looking for what?
They were looking for someone to just put up with them, really, is how it feels when I look back at it.
Were you an intern, or were you actually a paid employee?
Actually paid employee.
Oh, well, that's great.
So what they liked about me is that I had TV experience.
Yeah.
And that I genuinely wanted to get into TV.
Hold on. You had TV experience from college?
Yeah. Well, I worked at the TV station.
Oh, okay.
So I right at, like, even that's how the photography that I'm in that I do right now. It's like I learned how to operate a camera. I feel like we're telling
the story backwards because I had TV. Oh, that's a given.
Sorry.
Everybody knows that out there. No, okay. So
wait, I told you what I did college. I did TV in college.
You said communication, I think.
Yeah, but I did say, all right, let's rewind the tape.
All right, you're probably right. I'm probably just now listening. So. So anyhow, what was your title? What did you do?
I was a production assistant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and how many production assistants were there?
Oh, probably just a handful. So it wasn't a very big team. I mean, you have handful of, let's say there was like 8 of us, and then we had assistant producers, and then we had producers, and there's executive producers. It's all up there.
Did you have to deal with guests at all?
Oh gosh, that was part of the reason it was.
Nobody wanted to do that, so they're hiring new people to do that.
Oh, sure. Here was my biggest. So there's a couple of things I always find interesting. One, It would be up to us to actually try and get the guest on the show.
Because I wouldn't want to show up. She's going to tell me the baby is mine, and I'm going to argue, and we're going to fight.
Not only that, this was one thing we had to have them at the time fax their license over because we needed to know that they could get on a plane. No offense, some of these people do not have a driver's license. Like
really? Okay, really.
I was like,
you should have seen this look.
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm like, I'm not trying to say anything negative about our guests.
Yeah.
In fact, I had the hardest time working with these guests because I felt more compassionate for them than I did. I had a hard time putting them out there. Like some of these people, I just felt, even though they chose to be on the show, I felt that we were like degrading them.
Yeah.
And I had a hard time with that.
Did you feel like
eventually.
they weren't stable and you were taking advantage of their...
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. We worked with a lot of strippers too. And strip clubs, strip club owners.
Because they always have good stories, or?
Well, we would do HBO shows. And so the HBO, which if you remember at the time, I don't even know if HBO exists, but at the time you'd have to like pay.
Subscribe, yeah.
Pay-per-view, blah, blah,
yeah.
blah. And if you wanted anything that was 18 and up with nudity.
Oh, and so to get
Yes.
the nudity, you needed the strippers. Because the
Exactly.
strippers were okay with fighting and having their top come off.
Exactly.
And now you're on HBO and you're getting ratings. And okay.
Yeah. So typically those stories were a little more ingenuous, right? They weren't.
Yeah. Disingenuous.
Just disingenuous.
Yeah, right. I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some,
Kind of pre-planned.
yeah.
And do they tell the people and then at this point you can fight, or?
So, if you're familiar with the whole Jenny Jones story about how the gentleman came, you don't know?
No.
Some guy came out to another guy saying he liked him on the Jenny Jones story.
Yeah. And he ended up killing himself or killing somebody.
You know, he's actually, they're from Michigan, that guy.
Oh.
They're from like Lake Orion.
Really?
I know.
Wow.
Well, you got to watch the Jenny Jones documentary.
Oh, yeah. I'm not, yeah.
I
A
get
little
it.
gossipy for me. I don't care about that stuff.
I like.
But anyhow.
Anyways.
Okay, so.
After that
Yes.
happened, there was a clause within reality television, like from that day forward, because there's a huge lawsuit. Feiger was involved with all of that. And basically said you cannot have any surprises on reality television show. So mind you, for the past 20 years, any reality television show you've been watching, it is quote unquote scripted.
So if you're going to say that you're the baby daddy, before the guy goes out to find out, he's got to know he's the baby daddy before he walks on.
Yes.
Oh, that sucks.
I know, but
What's
I'm
the
just
point?
telling you.
The point is the shock and the surprise.
Yeah.
It's all phony. I'm not tuning in anymore.
I'm just like,
That's interesting, though.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
But back when you did it, was there shock and awe, or
No.
was there? No, it
had-
was all scripted at that point,
Yep.
and they kind of knew. Do they tell them when to fight, or they just know they want to fight, or are they every friendly backstage and then they fight when they get on camera, or how does that go? How
That's
phony is this shit?
It depends. There were some instances where we had where we would have fighting backstage. Like the chaos would be crazier backstage than it would be on stage.
Wow.
And again, you're just talking about just right here. Here's the thing. These are people with real relationships. So we never had, unless it was an HBO show, we would never have strangers, because strangers, that wouldn't come out right on TV.
Right.
So these people, and then some of the, whatever was happening on the actual TV would then, create more chaos.
Really?
Yeah, it just got catty. It would just get completely catty.
Was it hard to tolerate this day in and day out, all this drama?
So the timeline was, well, one, with TV, you had summers off because you, in the summer, it would just be reruns.
Oh.
So that was good. And then, the timeline is basically you would shoot 3 to 4 shows in one day. So you would only shoot for 2 days, and the rest of the days you'd be making calls to try and figure out the story.
Right.
And then you'd be entertaining guests. So I think it was a pretty, balanced, like workload in that sense,
So
Anyway.
how long did you do that?
I wasn't there that long, about 2 years.
Yeah, had enough.
And most people didn't stick around. There's a high turnover there.
Yeah, I'll bet there is.
Mm-hmm.
And then what did you go to after that?
I came back here to Michigan. I got back into the restaurant industry, working in restaurants.
Did I know you were in the restaurant industry?
I don't know.
You probably said that earlier.
Really?
I probably forgot that too.
No, I mean,
probably not. So anyhow, you were managing a restaurant or something, or?
Oh, little of everything.
Yeah.
Bartending, serving. I did managing, and then
Billy Reno did that same stuff. He was
Really?
in restaurant business. Yeah.
I love, restaurant industries, even working at dealerships, TV, like that, being on your feet, quick, reacting.
Those are all
there's something
high
about
energy
it.
jobs.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of you. You're kind of high energy.
Kinda.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're a really good networker. Well, tell me about how and when you got into comedy. Apparently it was only 2.5 years ago. I thought it was about 5, but apparently it's only 2.5. God, you're funny for 2.5 years in. You know that.
Well, thank you.
You were funny right out of the box, though.
So, but 2.5 years is a loaded statement because I've been on stages since I was a little kid. I mean, I've been in community theater since I was 7 years old.
Oh.
I tried out for an Oscar Mayer Wiener commercial when I was like 8.
Did you have to sing the song?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Do you want to sing that for us?
No, but I think there's 2 songs. My Baloney has a first name. Yeah, that one. And anyways.
M-E-Y-E-R.
Yeah. And then there's another one there.
No, is it Oscar? No, it's Oscar. O-S-C-A-R, is that right? Oh,
Yeah,
Oscar.
my baloney has a first name, it's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name, it's M-A-Y-E-R.
Hey.
Oh, I love to eat it every day, and if you ask me why, I'll say... 'Cause Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
Yay!
But there's... Thank you. Well, they didn't think that. They didn't.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
I was the ugly kid, remember?
With the big glasses.
I was not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear from her.
I had a lisp as well. So
Yeah.
I was awful.
You were all over the place. But anyhow, you did a lot of theater as a kid, and so you'd done a lot of public speaking. I had the same experience when I first started stand-up comedy. I had spent 30 years doing stand-up presentations in business.
Yeah.
So walking out on the stage and being in front of people was never a problem for me.
Yeah.
Was that the same for you?
Exactly.
And did you take Bill Bouchard's first Comedy 101 class?
Yeah.
See, I kind of feel like that's more of a public speaking class for people who haven't done a lot of public speaking and a little encouragement about comedy. But I think for a lot of people, getting over the hump of being on stage and talking to a group of people into a microphone is a get for them, because people don't do that naturally unless they've had like your experience or my life experience, where that's something that we've done for a long time.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So you had that part down. It was just a matter of being funny. Now, had you given speeches where you kind of told some jokes that were kind of funny and thought that's kind of fun, or how did that kind of evolve or come to you that you wanted to try stand-up?
So in high school, I also did forensics, which...
Is that where somebody dies and you figure out why? What is that?
I think Steve Hansen is like one of the only people who knew what forensics was. I think a few other people, but forensics it's public speaking. It's competitive public speaking.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you get
I was
judged?
super hot in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was one of the top 5 in the state when I was in high school.
How do they judge if you're a good public speaker? I mean, yeah, you talked really loud and really fast.
I know.
Had a lot to say. Made some good points along the way.
It's not
I'll
on
give
my...
her a 9.5.
Yeah.
I mean, how do they judge that?
I don't put this on my Tinder profile or anything. It's not what
You have a
won
Tinder-
Joel over.
I mean, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I mean, how do they judge? How do they judge forensics?
It's everything. It's the memorization. It's speaking clearly and eloquently and staying within your time. You can't go over in your time. So actually, it's really good for
Comedy.
stand-up comedy.
Yeah, because there's a time limit to stand-up comedy. Most people don't know that, by the way. Mm-hmm. They think we're just up there chatting until we get tired.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting.
Yeah. So let me finish my thoughts. So did that, and then I got into I got into improv. Well, actually, in college, I had my own TV show. Me and this other guy.
What was it called?
It was called Lunch Break.
Oh.
Because we were at lunch. We played throughout the school at lunchtime at noon.
Oh.
It was televised within the in public access TV.
Yeah. You were like Good Morning America, but you were like, have a lunch, America, while you have a lunch.
Yeah.
We're going to entertain you and tell you what the local news is. And
yeah. Regis and Kelly. We were just that. Me and another guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you interview people or did you talk about what was happening on campus or what'd you do?
All sorts of things. Yeah. Happenings in campus or just local.
You had time to do this with your track?
I know, right?
And your schooling?
But
you like to be busy though.
But I do. And I was getting paid to work there. It legit was the campus TV job. Oh. So it also, and that, oh gosh, that was so much fun. That was so much fun doing.
I'll bet. Did you like the people you worked with?
Oh yeah. That's one of.
Who was your co-host?
My co-host was a guy named Ryan Hoffman, which I don't talk to anymore. Just not bad blood, but just, life goes on.
Yeah.
And then my producer who's still one of my best friends, is Mariana, and she actually moved out to California. She now produces for some big commercials and whatnot.
Oh, that's very cool.
She's awesome. I did that, and then I got into improv. So I actually did Second City when it was here in
Detroit.
Novi. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Outside of Detroit.
Exactly.
Called it Novi? Was it in Novi? I thought there wasn't there another one someplace?
Andiamos. I don't know which one you're thinking of.
I did like an open mic, our first session of stand up at Second City, but I didn't think it was Novi. I thought it was someplace else.
I think it used to be about like where Hockey Town is or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, someplace down there.
And then it moved.
Okay.
From my
So
understanding.
you were doing improv. Did you become part of the improv troupe at Second City down there? Or
no.
Just kind of taking
I was
classes
taking
and having
classes.
fun? Yeah.
Taking classes.
Did you like it?
I'll be honest, I don't regret getting into stand-up as late as I did, because being my age feels late. I know, right? 35. I'm 37 now,
You're
but
so
35.
old. God, that's what I was thinking. She is so old. I can't even believe I'm going to interview this girl. How old are you?
I mean, Ted, yes. For you, I'm old. I get it. I know you
I started
like your
stand up
girls
at
young.
58. Okay. Okay. Feel bad for you. But anyhow.
That's a whole other conversation we could have, right?
We'll have that, but let's try and get there. Okay, so anyhow, you started doing improv and you weren't thrilled with it, or you were, or it was kind of wasn't for you, or?
I think I liked drinking more.
No, you were a drinker. We should talk about that. You were a big drinker.
Yeah.
This is post-college, I assume.
Yeah.
You got into drinking.
Yeah, and I think that's, in my head, gosh, I hate I feel gross even admitting it, but just in my head, it was like, improv is never going to go anywhere. This is stupid. And I just rather party and drink at that point. And maybe part of that is because my life was so strict for so long with sports, that I think I just wanted nothing to hold me back at that point.
It seems to me that anything you do, you do full force. That if you're running, you're going to be a competitive runner. You're going to get a college scholarship in running. If you're going to get on TV, you're going to go to Jerry Springer's show. You're going to totally immerse in this. This is what you're going to do. You're really focused on it. If you're going to drink, you're going to drink. You're not going to just drink a lot. You're not just sipping. We're drinking. So it sounds like everything you do, while you do it, you do it 100%. You aren't casual about anything. You're very intense and focused on it.
Which also means that if I can't go full force, I will quit. And that's ultimately what I did with improv. I said, well, I'm not giving this if I'm not going to make it, then I'm just done.
I was never, I wasn't that thrilled with improv. I only tried it once, I got to tell you. And so maybe I didn't give it a fair shot, but I had been the lead in all the plays in high school. And I actually had some communication classes in college too. Actually, the communication head of the department picked me as the communication student to represent the university and go meet with the governor. And so I had some standing. I did a lot of public speaking in college on social issues and gay rights, on a whole bunch of things. So I was kind of that guy that liked being out there and talking. But when I did improv, I was like, this is just stupid makeup stuff, and I got nothing. I don't even know. Okay, I'm a tree in the road. All right, I don't know. It's time to leave.
So
it was stupid, and I thought I don't get it.
I think I could see that with you. You seem very structured when it comes to your comedy, right? Like like your some of your bits, your chatter bit, for instance. I mean, you've got that down to a point, but
that may be true.
The reacting to improv is what I think is so great, is that being able to, that exercise of being quick on your feet.
Well, I don't think I'm that structured, but let me get to question number 42 I had for you right here. See, that's improv. There you go. Boom, boom.
No, you're right. It's, I don't like it. I don't like improv as, how do I say this? Now that I'm in stand-up comedy, to me, improv just seems like a better exercise for stand-up comedy. Yeah. Now that's become my view of it.
I think I would like improv if I was with some people that were really good.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I had that opportunity.
Yeah.
It's like, if I'm surrounded by people that are mediocre and I'm dependent on those people, and it doesn't matter if it's in the work or what it is, I get really frustrated with those other people really quickly and think I just want to go do my own thing. Mm-hmm. And the one thing about stand-up is you're doing your own thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's totally on you. Yeah. From how you walk up to what you say and how you say those things, it's all on you. And I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a burden, and you have to take total responsibility for what's going on. But improv, I don't know. It's a kind of a group thing.
So I got out of Second City, and I think I went a few years where I didn't do anything creative.
How long were you at Second City?
And I just did a year there.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy.
Mainly classes and kind of open mic kind of things.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Did you do any shows, travel with any troupe and do any shows at all?
No.
At that time?
Not at that time.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No, not at that time. No, I took a few years and I completely fell out of anything creative.
Yeah. But see, you like to do characters and stuff too. Mm-hmm. So that's, that kind of is, in your lane also. So you didn't do anything creative, and all of a sudden you said.
So, and then I did get back into improv here in Michigan in Ferndale.
Yeah.
And I did the full, then I think I did a solid.
Hold it, you just said it was in Novi. Now it's in Ferndale?
Okay, there's Go Comedy.
Because I think it was Ferndale's where I did it.
Yeah, Go Comedy.
Yeah, it might have been.
There's Go Comedy, there's
I thought it was
Comedy
Second City,
Sports.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Planet Ant.
So you were in Ferndale. You did it for a while in Ferndale.
So yes, and this is the point I'm trying to get at, is that I met a couple of people within my classes, and then we formed a troupe, just like you would form a band. And that was so much fun. These people have become my really good friends. I mean, we right? We could say or do anything together.
Yeah.
And that's when improv is fun, because these are people that you start to, you know what the other person's going to say. You can start to sense it. You can feel it. You know that someone's going to jump in and, you know, tag that line and whatnot. And,
right.
So we went really hard at that. We ended up winning this competition, and we ended up getting like a weekly coach, and we were meeting weekly.
Wow.
And quite honestly, all that started to fizzle out because everybody, you know, life happens, just like the Beatles breaking up.
Right. If you can keep hitting that mic, it's going to be so hard to edit that shit out of it. Just, Jesus.
I'm sorry.
I can't take it out. I can't separate your voice from your smacks.
Okay.
No, that's okay. I'm cutting all this shit out.
Okay. Since you said you were cutting it out.
I am.
So we started to break up, and one of the guys said, he's like, well, I'm going to try stand-up comedy.
And who was that?
His name's Timmy Omens.
I don't even know him. Did he do stand-up?
He did. Well, yeah, we did Bill's
One-on-one
class.
Yeah.
We, yes. So that was it. That's
Was
been
he funny?
kind of, yeah, he's super funny.
Oh, cool.
And I think similar that we're like, okay, we had the improv experience.
Yeah.
But now it's just learning how to, whatever, direct yourself.
Did you take Joel's class?
I took Joel's class too.
Yeah, what did you think about Joel's class?
Personally, I think Bill and Joel's classes go hand in hand.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, I know people say, well, I don't need the advanced class or I don't need the beginner class.
Yeah.
And I just think take both.
Yeah, I think so too.
Number one, 6 weeks of any class isn't enough.
Well, you're talking to a professional comedian who's been doing it for decades.
Sure.
And he's going to spend a couple hours with you, and you can ask him anything you want. Where are you going to have access to a professional comedian for hours on a weekly basis? I mean, that's worth a ton right there.
Agreed.
That's worth even if he doesn't coach you. Just asking the questions or watching him coach other people when they're on stage or talk to them, you're learning the whole time you're in all the classes.
Yeah.
And Joel, hell, he has 2-hour lectures.
Yeah.
And the whole business side.
Yeah.
So I think you're right.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I think, you know, people who think they can skip one to get to two, just take one. Even if you feel like it's you're above it. Just take the class.
Yeah. I suggested to one person that they should take it. And they had been doing comedy for a long time and they were offended. And I thought, well, I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, but see, that's unfortunate because I think I could have had that perspective, right? Well, I've been on stages for 20 years and I work at a big corporation and I don't need this class. But honestly, what my perspective is I want to figure this out. And I can't figure this out on my own. I don't want to YouTube this.
Yeah.
I don't want to read a book. I'm a visual learner, and I'd like to get in front of someone who knows what it is.
You know, and sometimes you'll see somebody that's been doing comedy for a long time, and they're making some basic mistakes. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to call them etiquette, but procedural mistakes. And you're thinking, geez, you know, I'm not the one to tell you that you're doing things wrong, but if you took this class, you'd probably find out.
Yes.
There's a better way. And if you paid attention to all the professional comedians do certain things a certain way, and you aren't doing that. So I don't want to get into specifics because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I think you're right. I think everybody can benefit from it. If you haven't taken those classes, they're Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, if it ever opens up again.
Yeah.
And those are very, very valuable. So you took both classes and started doing comedy.
Yeah.
And how did I meet you? Do you have any idea how we met?
Yes, I do. I remember.
God. Is it bad?
Well, it was bad for you.
Oh, was it?
Do you remember? No, you can't remember.
No idea.
It was a Tom Swan show. And you had to do like 20. That was the first time I met you. Oh,
God. That was horrid.
And you had to do like 25 minutes. But by the time you got up there, like the crowd was already
it was terrible.
Just over everyone.
Yeah, I think I did 20. I think you did. Yeah, it was a struggle.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Oh, God. That was terrible.
20 minutes is nothing to you. So it was like.
Well, I can do 30 without thinking about it too much. But when they're not laughing at anything and you're trying this and you're trying that and you're trying this, that was kind of a whole bad situation because not only were they over it, but a whole bunch of tables had emptied out in the middle. The stage was really high. How the whole room was set up was very, very difficult. But in comedy, you're gonna have bad sets. You're gonna have bad 100%. Rooms. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. Other times they're like riotous with a response. And sometimes they're just silent. And I've been in I've had horrible sets at Ridley's. And I've had killer sets at Ridley's.
Yeah.
It all depends on the night, the crowd, the timing. So, So that's how we met. And you thought, God, this guy sucks.
And then I don't know, we must have met at some Bonto shows after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't we do that competition together over in Grand Rapids? Didn't you and I ride all the way over to the finals of Sunday Night Funnies, funniest person in Wyoming kind of thing?
I didn't drive with you. I drove with Tina at first. I drove with Tina for a couple.
Yeah, but I think you and I went to the finals. When I did all the pedophile priest jokes.
Okay.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that?
I remember the competition, but I'm not remembering driving with you, but I guess so. Well, maybe. I think I was like, I can't remember.
It seems to me, now this could be wrong. It seems to me that we were in the finals. That you and I had made it to the finals and we were driving over and I said to you, we are not going to win. And you said, what? I said, we're not going to win this. And you said, why? And I said, it's in Grand Rapids. Everybody's invited their friends. We're bringing nobody.
No one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they're going to sit on their hands for us. And you said, oh my God, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to do 4 minutes of really good material. And then I'm going to see how many pedophile priest jokes they can take. And I think we had 12 minutes to do or something like that. And it turns out they can take about 6 minutes of pedophile priest jokes because they're very religious over there. And then they're kind of over it. And I said, okay, that's my time. I'm out. So it was fun for me. I knew I wasn't going to win, so I had fun. I thought, was that not you that went over there?
I think you're
It was a female, and we were in the finals. It had to be you. I can't think of another female.
I just didn't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you were fairly new.
Yeah.
I think it was within your first year or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Because Tina reached out to me because she's like, hey, she wanted to see if I wanted to go to Grand Rapids.
Right.
For the show. And
that was for the first round or second round or something.
And I didn't realize it was a competition until I got there. And then we kept winning.
Yeah.
I was like,
well, you did.
I got to keep coming back to this.
Did. Yeah. I think you and I were the only ones in the finals that were East Siders. Yeah. Because there were some Grand Rapids people and then somebody out of Muskegon or somebody that was close. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was a couple of years ago, but.
That's my favorite time to do a contest. I don't like contests. I don't want to bring anyone. I understand the business mentality of a contest. It's you bring all these people and it doesn't, then it becomes really negative and catty afterwards.
Yeah.
About how
you know what? It's not always the funniest comic that wins competitions. And they try to make it fair. So you got to vote for 3 people. So you get a whole bunch of second place votes and you might win. They do their best, but they're putting on a show. They're trying to make money. They're producing the show. Yeah. But for starting comedians, you got to think about it this way. You took your comedy classes. You've been doing open mics. Open mics means you're performing for 14 people. 8 of them are comedians not listening and 3 people that happen to be in the bar drinking. They're not fun. At least in a competition, you're going to perform for 50 to 100 people. There's going to be an audience that's going to show up to listen to comedy. So for somebody right out of the box that's not going to get on a showcase, that has no ins with anybody to get paid, it's a way to actually have an audience to see if your stuff is funny. So I think they're good for that. Now, I've had people, I think it might even been Joel, that said contests suck, Well, they suck because they aren't fair if you're trying to go win the contest. But if you're going to a place and going, I get an audience, I'm going to try and be funny, I think they're a big get for somebody right out of the chute, trying to learn, about stand-up comedy. Did you ever do Melissa Hager's shows?
I have done some, but I feel like I haven't done. I know she's got like a main one in Frankenmuth. I haven't done
the one in Frankenmuth they put on at a theater.
Yes, I haven't done that one.
Oh, that's a super show.
That's what I've heard.
I did the Rising Stars of Comedy competition up there. I actually won that competition. And a lot of good people were on the show with me. Tim Finkel was on the show with me.
Yeah.
And Tim gave me the biggest compliment I think I've ever gotten in comedy. When I came off stage, he said, "Oh my God, Ted, you are great tonight. You got 3 applause breaks and 1 wahoo break." Swear to God, I don't know why it happened, but it was just one of those times when my timing was right. And the more they laughed, the more I got to pause, the more I could just stand there and look at them and take advantage of that moment. So it's kind of a spiral that goes up if it's working. Yeah. It can go down too, but if it's working. So that was great. But the nice thing about that room is Melissa puts on a pro show. That's a professional stage with a professional backdrop. You get to stand backstage. She buys food and beverages for the entertainers. Yeah. She's got somebody running the lights, somebody else that's monitoring the audience to make sure they're quiet, that's walking around. The packed house, standing room only. Somebody else is running the sound system. She's doing the hosting and introducing people, and she does a great job of that and gets everybody going and everybody up and hyped and happy. And the stage is perfect. The room is perfect. It's just a great place to play. If you can ever get a chance to do her theater up there, you will love that place.
Yeah. Haven't done that one. I've done a couple of her shows. She booked, what is it? Festival of some sort.
Was it the one up on 65? Up in Hale, Michigan?
No.
She asked me to do.
That's far. That's why I'm talking.
Yeah, she asked me to do Hale, Michigan, and I double booked, and I had to back out because I was opening for Billy in his recording that day. So, but yeah, she puts on a great show. She's a great gal.
Yep.
Yeah, I love performing with her. Love everything she does.
Yeah.
She has a great marketing mind. You know, the interesting thing about you though is you're great at networking. Mm-hmm. You just kind of have that professional networking.
Well, I'm cousins with most people. Is that what it is? It's the big Italian family.
Room. I mean, honestly, you're a good professional networker. So I think you've produced a lot of shows, right? You've become a comedy show producer. Yeah. So you've put a lot of shows together.
Drag Queen Bingo.
Yeah. What's up with that? Drag Queen Bingo. Yeah. I don't get it. I totally don't get it. It works.
You don't get it?
No, it's what somebody said. It's a bumblebee. That's what Mike Green said. Doesn't look like it should fly, but it flies. Well, that's what he said about Mark Ridley. But I think Drag Queen Bingo is the same frickin' thing.
Yeah, and
why the hell does that work?
What I find interesting, I guess this will be more of my background, but I went to a drag queen show, 20 some years ago. My sister came out of the closet when I was 14. Yeah. And so it was very much
gay? Yeah. Does that have to do, what does that have to do with the drag queen?
I'm going to tell you. Oh my gosh. What are you in a hurry for?
I just don't understand the connection.
COVID, you can't go anywhere. You're already retired. Why do you need me to leave all of a sudden? Jeez.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sure these are connected.
The connection is that my sister introduced me to very eclectic lifestyles 25 years ago. Okay, think about the 90s, the mid 90s. Are you kidding me? Did you know drag queen? Drag Queen Bingo was not happening like it is now. All I'm saying is now people are becoming more and more comfortable with these eclectic lifestyles. You're looking at me like this, but it's true.
No, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Go ahead. I'm listening.
All I'm saying is that I just laugh because if I would have 25 years ago put on a Drag Queen Bingo show, nobody would have showed up. It was the whole concept was very foreign, and it was, I think, not taken in a positive way, it just wasn't.
You think?
Did you go to a drag queen show 25 years ago?
In 1968, my best friend's father was gay, and he wore full face makeup all all day with eyeliner. Also had his boyfriend, Raphael, that lived with him and shared a bed in the bedroom in the house. And it was the 3 men.
That makes me happy.
And, it does. Well, I'm sure they were happy too. Cliff was a little confused, my buddy, but no. So I grew up thinking this is weird. Yeah. But this, I know it exists. Yeah. And nobody said they were gay, but they were obviously gay. They acted gay. And then in the early 70s, I actually went to the gay rights meetings and the gay liberation movement meetings and went to the gay bars and actually met the gay community and did some public speaking on being gay back in the early 70s, when it was questionable whether or not it was something that you were born with or if it was a learned behavior. I mean, that's where the...
interesting.
Yes, that's where everybody's head was back in the early 70s. Yeah. So I was introduced to it long ago, and I was around it. And within the gay community, there was something called camping. And when people were camping, they were acting campy, which means men were acting very feminine and flamboyant. When they did that, they said they were camping, and they told us about that. So in any case, these men were acting extremely feminine, which is very similar to drag queen bingo. You have men dressing up as if they are women and acting very flamboyant. They're being a caricature of a woman, an over exaggeration of being feminine, loud and feminine, and in these big burly guys. And there's a contrast to that, which is weird. Also in 80s, I used to go to a bar in Flint, which was a gay bar. And on Thursdays, it was a straight night with all the college kids come in. This is, I don't know what year it was. It was when Madonna was big and all that.
Okay,
yeah,
80s.
So,
sure.
So all the girls were dressing like Madonna, wearing all the wild outfits, and and they had the best music, and it was a really awesome club. But, 1/3 of the population of that bar, even on straight night, was gay. So there was a lot of exposure to that. So I never felt like that was a hidden thing. It was always there. It was kind of a subculture. But I don't get why in this day and age it's popular. And moreover, I don't get why it's even allowed. Now, you think about it.
What?
Well, okay, think about it. Women as a whole have been repressed in our society, and you don't make fun of repressed groups. If I was to dress up as a Mexican and overtly act like I'm a caricature of a Mexican, buenos dias, señorita, he would say, I'm making fun of Mexicans. Yeah. That's not allowed. Yeah. If I was to do the same thing, if I was to dress up as a black person, hey, don't do the name of Ruben Begonia strike and do that. Racist. People go, that's racist. You can't do it. So any group that you're a member of that has been a repressed group, whether it's blacks or American Indians, you dress up like an American Indian and go out in public and start saying how kimosabi, and stuff like that. Yeah, you can't do that. So why the hell can you dress up like a woman and be a caricature of a woman, acting out all these flamboyant things that are negative characterizations of women, and it's okay? I don't get it. Why is that okay? It's this one group we have set aside and said, you can make fun of this group, you could dress up like you're part of this group when you aren't, and you can make an elaborate characterization of this group, and people are laughing with you, and it's okay. Now, it used to be okay to pretend you were Polish and act like a Polish person, and people would laugh at you. You used to be able to pretend like you were Italian. You can't anymore. You're making fun of Italians. You can't make fun of any group. Okay. But you drag queens, you can.
Drag queens aren't making fun of women at all. That's the thing. They like to dress as women. They like to be
and act overly feminine. If I like to dress as a black person and put on a afro wig and blackface, this is wrong. I can't do this.
I don't think you can compare the two.
You're putting on the face makeup like you're a woman, and you're putting on the big wig like you're a woman in a dress.
Yeah, they want, just like there's drag kings as well who like to dress like men.
Oh, you're thinking it's okay because they want to do this.
They do want to do this.
Yes, and
They
you think that makes it okay.
And then we've discovered.
What if I do want to dress like a Mexican? Is that okay?
What? I think it's different. I think bringing race into it is different.
Well, Mexican's not a race; it's a nationality.
Okay, so what I think is different with drag queens is that we're trying to blur the lines of, if you have
gender.
If you have a penis, you can wear a dress. Who gives a shit? Yeah, it feels good. I don't want to wear a dress. I'm a woman. I'd rather be in jeans, right?
You don't think they're doing
trying to.
You don't think how they're acting is doing impersonation of a woman in how they're acting?
So I do think there's a difference between drag queens and transgender, and then
cross-dressing.
Then I'm sorry, I can't remember the term. Someone who's actually been through the transformation, because there's a difference. Transgender, you've been through the transformation?
Yeah.
And
transvestite.
No.
I don't know.
So either way.
Some people still have their equipment and other people don't. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, this is...
Bruce Jenner still has his equipment. Bruce, I can't call him Bruce.
He does?
What's his name? I don't know. Caitlyn.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I meant Caitlyn.
Yeah.
You think there's no insult in that at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't find it inappropriate. One of the big things, so Crystal is the drag queen that I work with at this show.
Nice people, very funny too. I've been to the show. Yeah,
I totally get it.
I totally get it. I just don't know why people think it's appropriate. And I'm not saying it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it though. And I don't get who wants to come and see it. I don't think there's a bunch of guys going, "Hey dude, what are you doing tonight? You want to watch the game?" No, man, they got drag queen bingo. Let's go. I don't think it's guys. I think it's women want to see men dressing like women.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really guys that are going, "Hey, yeah, this be fun for us guys."
It is becoming more of a couple,
the wives are dragging the man.
Yeah,
There's no man going, "Honey, if you aren't busy tonight, I want to go see some drag queens and you can come along. By the way, if you aren't going, I'll get Butch and we'll go watch the drag queens."
I agree. This is what I think it is. If I can just put it in simple terms, I think we've come to the point where women are interested to learn more about these men who dress as women, and this is a very comfortable setting. A lot of times we've made it comfortable. We're helping straight people understand this whole other of LGBTQ in this very playful performance, and that's really to me, that's what it comes down to. And even Crystal, who, before her performance or during her performance, she asks everyone, "Are you straight? Are you gay? Are you lesbian?" She has everyone raise their hands. 90% of the time, 90% of our shows are straight women. And, she thanks everyone for, hey, just coming out and not being judgmental. This is what it's all about. Be here in the moment, get your laughs on. And that's really what our shows are trying to create, is just whatever.
Well, you know what? I remember going to house parties that were gay house parties when I was in college.
Yeah.
And I remember when they got together and they got playful and at the parties, a lot of people would act very campy. They started camping. They'd act more flamboyant, more female. Yeah. And if they said something really female, is that a way to put it? Really? So they sounded like it was feminine. People would laugh. Yeah. They enjoyed that. Yeah. They entertained each other by having these feminine actions and things they said. Yeah. And they enjoyed that. So I think it's kind of an expansion of that. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't know why it's socially acceptable. I don't know why it's I guess we're trying to be inclusive, so it's you got to say you can dress any way you want. But when it starts making fun of the people, when it starts making fun of the group, that you're dressing up as, and you're not part of that group. Mm-hmm. You know, if I dress up like a Mexican and I make fun of Mexicans, if I dress up like an Italian and I'm making fun of Italians.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. Can I go to a Halloween party dressed as Mario and start talking like Mario?
But but we're trying to say that putting on a dress and makeup doesn't make you a woman.
I'm not saying it does.
Right.
I'm saying
that's it.
Yeah. Well, me putting on a Afro wig doesn't make me black.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah, that's true.
But I think the problem with people putting on blackface is they weren't portraying some great black person, you know, that's to be admired. It wasn't an actor trying to be that. It was the problem with it is you're making fun of black people by doing this character, which is demeaning to black people. It's pointing out, you know, bad things about black people. That's why it's insulting. You should not do that. It's totally wrong. So in some ways, putting on a dress and acting out the extremes of being a woman, I think might be insulting or hurtful to somebody, but apparently it's not. So I totally think I'm on the wrong page.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
sorry.
I think there's a dichotomy to it. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of a weird thing. I mean, I saw drag queens basically at the gay parties.
Yeah.
Back when I was in college. Yeah. I mean,
but most people didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Well, the thing, you know what happened? I mean, to me, my opinion is, and it doesn't mean I'm right, but my opinion is that men tend to be the aggressors in relationships, which means if you're an attractive woman like yourself or my daughters, that occasionally some men are going to say and do things that are inappropriate, that are out of line. And because you're exposed to this from the time you're 12, 14 years old coming up, women understand this. And they don't judge all men by these assholes. They're going to go, you know, it's only 5% of men. 1 out of 20 might say something inappropriate. You know, maybe 2 out of 20 might think it. 1 out of 20 is going to say something, and you're going to blow him off. But you don't hold it against all men. Men don't have this experience with women. The women generally, I mean, it's going to be 1 out of 1,000 that says something sexually inappropriate to a man, at least when I was growing up. But gay men, you still have this 1 out of 20 because they're men, and they're going to say something inappropriate. So most gay men are not interested in straight men. They just pass by, go, yeah, you're straight, and I'm not looking for straight. I'm not going to make a pass at you. But that 1 out of 20 that does make a pass at a straight guy, for a lot of men, that's the only interaction they've ever had with anybody that was gay. I got hit on by a guy who was gay. Like, I was hitchhiking one time, and I had a guy grope me as I was trying to get out of the car. And had I not been around gay guys, this would have been like, oh, my God. Yeah. And all gay men are like this. This is what you're assuming. And that's wrong. That's not. Most gay people are well-mannered about their sexuality. Yeah. Okay. But if you grow up as a man, if your only contact is with that 1 out of 20... Like if your only contact with the men was the guys that slap your ass and you don't know them or grab you when you don't know him, you go, you got groped by some guy, you go, all men are assholes. Yeah. And so men have a tendency to not understand. There's a lot of gay people walking around that aren't doing or saying anything. They're just fine, you know? Yeah. But men don't have that exposure. All right. Anyhow, that's my philosophy, that my exposure to gay men was probably different than most people. Yeah. Because my best friend's father was gay. Yeah. I mean, he had a sex change operation, by the way. Also.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, and also a good buddy of mine growing up, who was a lead singer in a huge band, had a sex change operation. Wow. Yeah, too. So, Mark Free. He's now Marcy Free. And he sang the theme song to the movie Iron Eagle. Wow. Yeah. All right, that music means it's time for us to get out of here. But first, I want to give a special thanks to our new listeners in Japan. Arigato. Sure glad to have you with us. And also a special thanks to today's guests, Coraci. I believe that's how you say it. I'm not even sure she knows, but she's a great gal. She'll be back next week for part 2. And if you were entertained, make sure you subscribe. You can go to tedtalkstoomuch.com. You also can listen to us on any one of the podcasting platforms. We're glad to have you. And as I always say, be good to each other out there. Be kind, would you? And try to be happy. Until we talk again, my name's Ted Moss, and those are my thoughts. With that, Bob's your uncle.